Hey everybody, this is Gary Kane. You're watching a special video version of my Rants and Raves podcast because we're going to do a video product demo for something that everyone who is in the integrator side of the business or rental and staging and integration, everything can use a software tool from a company called TierPM. I'm joined this morning with Sarah Van Royce, who's program manager there. Hey Sarah, how are you?
Hi Gary, I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. So this is a great demo because this is a great product and it's going to be a great demo because this is something that everyone in the integration side of the world can use in our industry. Talk about what the product is and what your company does.
Okay, well, TierPM is actually made up of two different sides. One, we have a AV placement side where we place all kinds of people in the AV industry. And then on the second side, we have like an IT services section of our business. We do all kinds of IT services, application design, but we just launched a brand new data analytics division, which I lead and do the business dev work with. And so the first of many things that we're doing is this unified communications dashboard, which is, based on the data, completely customizable for any client or integrator and completely platform agnostic. So it can work with Biamp, Crestron, QSC, anybody out there, and any kind of device as long as it's networked and we have access to it. So we're really excited and looking forward to showing this to you and rolling it out to all kinds of people.
So I want you to do the demo, and people should understand that the neat thing about this platform is that it allows you to monitor and manage rooms and all the details of all the product in the room, but it's universally compatible. It's not dependent on a specific set of products. It's completely independent of those products. So go ahead and do the demo. On the screen right now, we have a full screen that says UC Main. Tell us, is that the dashboard?
This is your landing page. So it's kind of the main dashboard, which you're really kind of looking at real-time data. So hooking up to your scheduling system, any kind of ticketing system. It's letting you know how many active alerts there are, how many rooms are, like total rooms there are, how many rooms are online and in use. You can see in the data section that these are the actual tickets that are open. You can see what room it's in, what equipment is being affected, and the details of the ticket. We also have a calendar here where you can kind of see by month, week, or day the rooms that are booked. And then here in the middle, you have peak time room usage by room type. So you can kind of see by what time of day, which types of rooms are being used. And then this pie chart over here is room usage also by room type, but over, like we're looking right now at over a year. And you can filter by city, room, floor, room type, which is pretty, and date, which is pretty universal throughout the dashboard. The only tab on here that does not have a date filter is the asset section, but all the other filters are basically the same. And what's really cool too is we have a map, and if you had a location or a business that had locations all over the world, this map would show that. But if I click on Boston, it will filter the entire dashboard to just look at Boston, and super easy to just kind of click off of. So the main dashboard's really supposed to mean to be live and just kind of give you a touch point of what's going on and if there's anything really important that you need to be looking at.
So I see two applications to this. One is that the integrator is selling this as a service to the client that they have, and the other is where the client's using this. In the case where the client's using this, is this able to be white labeled by the integrator as a service?
Correct. Yes, it could be.
Okay. And so they have both options there. So included in the quote or in the proposal for multiple rooms where you're doing an install of, say, 20 or 30 Zoom rooms or a combination of Zoom rooms and classrooms and boardrooms, you could also quote the management of those rooms using the platform. In addition, for a large company that has the capability or an IT department that can manage their own facility, they have the ability to white label this and make this available that the company's using it, and then there's some sort of monthly or recurring revenue model, or how does that work?
So we have like an initial setup fee. It's going to be depending on, a lot of it too is based on the customizable, like what the client actually needs. So It's absolutely customizable depending on if they have Power BI or not, or they want a service agreement or whatever. It depends on kind of the pricing. So it's kind of variable by client's needs. But yeah, it's absolutely white labeled. Like we can put anybody's logo on here, and probably would prefer to have the end user's logo even if they're going through an integrator, just so that it looks like it's theirs. But yeah, it can be hosted by an integrator or done by an end user.
And how do we get more information on this? Just go to TierPM.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. So this product, what's it called? Is this, the screen says UC Main, but what's the product called itself?
We call it the Unified Communications Dashboard, and there's actually 4 other pages I could run through really quickly.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Great. So the next page that we have is really focused on looking at all just error log information, so over specific periods of time. So this one right now is focused on all the years that we have data in here for. You can filter it by quarter, month, city, room, all those types of things. It's showing you in the tile the average time that it's taken to resolve tickets. The first pie chart is the help request by device, so you can see how many tickets are coming in by specific type of equipment. And then in the middle, you have an average uptime and downtime by hours, and it's by room. So right now it's looking at the top 5 rooms and their uptime and downtime. And then in the far right upper corner, you have the help request count by severity. So how many tickets are coming in and what severity level those tickets are coming in at. And then by device, you have the average time to resolve in hours. So how much time it's actually taking to resolve by device type. And then in the middle, you have the top help requests by room, which are the top rooms that are bringing in the most tickets. And then the severity by room type. So you can kind of see that which types of rooms are putting in what type of severity levels of tickets. And then we have a data grid down below that shows you all tickets in that span of time, exactly all the details of the ticket that's provided by the ticketing system. So we can bring anything in down here, and we pretty much have everything in here so that you can know when it was opened, who it was opened by, the type of equipment, all that kind of stuff. So, and it can be completely filtered by any of those things.
So this would allow you to not only figure out what products are most problematic that you're using consistently, but also potentially identifying whether the problem is actually cockpit error, user error versus the product itself, which could mean that you may need more training, or could mean that the installation is too complicated or something like that. So what else do you have in this?
You need to find a different brand or to find a different solution for that device type. Yeah, if you're getting too many tickets.
Yep. All right. What else do you have?
Okay, so then we have an assets tab, which what I really like about that is when we really heard a need to be able to see aging and kind of firmware. I know there's a lot of companies like Biamp and Crestron and all that kind of stuff that are, you have like Sage View and stuff like that that's really starting to bring out what type of firmware needs to be done, and we can hook up to stuff like that and grab that information. So you have like asset availability by device type, and you just scroll down and you can see all the devices, but how much they're being utilized, how much they're sitting idle, and then any time that they're actually offline. So you can kind of see that what equipment's actually being utilized the most, but also which ones are, sitting idle too much or being offline. And then in the middle, you have a funnel that's the asset type needing firmware updates. So how many counts are actually needing firmware there. And then you can kind of start to see where how much of your assets are by what kind of manufacturer. So Biamp, we just have like a general manufacturer in here, Sony or anybody, Crestron. The 2 tiles up top are how many deployed assets there are, and then how many actual firmware updates there are in total. And then I really like this. It's the asset aging by device in years. So right now it's looking at all the device types, and it's showing you when they're starting to get out of warranty and when they might be aging. So you have in which types of account of each of those. And then if you want to drill down, you can like, let's just say we want to just look at DSP, you can click on that, just look at that, and then drill down. And it'll show you exactly how many assets need to be changed in each specific room. So I really like that. They can go in and say, okay, they can start a refresh schedule based on room type or device type, and then drill down and see which rooms actually need to be updated. So I really like that. I think it'll be really useful for all of our, a lot of clients. So we heard a lot about needing to know, trying to set up refresh schedules. And then we have the assets by manufacturer and kind of their aging. So how many devices by each manufacturer that are coming out of, are getting old. And then down below, you just have every asset type, what conference room it's in, what the current status is, the last firmware version, when it was updated, where it is, all that kind of stuff, the IP address, the year it was installed. So anything that we can hook up to, we can put in here.
And this data comes specifically from the product. So it's the information that the manufacturer would give you. So for example, some of this depended on what the manufacturer feeds you. So if it needs a firmware update, obviously, if it's a projector, it depends on whether or not the projector manufacturer gives you that information through the IP protocol, or the RS-232 port, or however you have connected to the control system itself, right?
Correct.
Or the network.
And most of the major manufacturers now have some sort of control or managing software that's starting to give this information. So I think a lot of the idea is that if you have that, we would hook up to that. But even if you don't, and you can provide that information because it sits in a database, we can get that out and garner that data.
And you have one more screen to show me, is that right?
I have two more really, really quick, and we'll just run through them really quick. The next one's room data and super room focus. So you can see how many total rooms are there, the meetings that are booked, scheduled, how many, like the average time that's being utilized, like how many, so 152 minutes is the average time of a meeting, how many missed meetings, how many ad hoc meetings. And then you can see how many rooms are booked by room type, how that breaks down by percentage of time occupied by actual room. Mm-hmm. And then we're looking at room type and how many rooms were scheduled, attended, missed, and ad hoc as a count. And then you can kind of see an area chart by quarter down here that shows some of the same information, but in a quarter. So you can see that in quarter 3, there are far less meetings than there are in, say, Q1, at least of these specific years. And then one of my favorites is the conference room occupancy on this page, because you can see by room type, you're not, the boardroom's not meeting capacity, but the medium conference room is. So if they're starting to redesign conference rooms in their building, they can see that, we need more medium-sized conference rooms and maybe less boardrooms or less large conference rooms. And they can start to kind of redesign based on some of that information.
Okay. That's excellent. That's really neat.
And then the user page is just really kind of focused on, again, the user stuff. So same type of idea, but you can see the top meetings by department, the count of those meetings by department, which of your top users are actually, top 5 users are putting in tickets, and what the severity of those tickets are. One of my favorites on this page is the technology used by department. So you can see which departments are actually using which technology that we offer, that the company offers. And then we have the average number of participants by room type, and then a help request count by department. And then again, all the user data that you can possibly have, like when they're scheduling, what department they're in, what rooms they scheduled, when it started, actual start time, all the end times. What type of technology was being used, and the number of participants and the capacity and all of that kind of stuff. So everything's kind of available, which this one would probably be more on a scheduler, looking at that plus a ticketing system. But so yeah, that's the whole visualization as a whole.
It's a really neat platform, because it sort of makes everyone who works in your department, if you're the person managing this, able to be passive in a way. You don't have to actually be active in going to the room or even waiting for people to tell you that there's a problem in a room, because it's making you proactive without you having to be proactive, because it's giving you the access to all this data. So this is all available from TierPM, TIERPM.com. Sarah, I really appreciate you doing this software demo. And as we said, it could either be managed from a control system at the integrator location or from the dashboard individually by client. So this is a really neat system, and something that our industry should rapidly adopt as we put more rooms online, thanks to companies like Zoom and Microsoft with Teams and WebEx meetings and things like that. There's going to be a lot more rooms that are being put online with electronic gear inside of them, interactive gear inside of them. So I think this is going to be a great tool.
Well, thank you, Gary. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. And of course, you can see all of our, listen to all of our podcasts at ravepubs.com, clicking on the podcast link, and I want you to check out tierpm.com as well. Have a great day.